The black intern greeted the deaf child with sign language. But what he didn't know was that this silent boy was the son of the CEO himself. It started like nothing more than an ordinary morning in the towering glass. Headquarters. Executives in sharp suits rushed through the lobby, assistants hurried with files, and security guards stood stiff, their eyes scanning every movement. To most, today was just another day of business. But for one young man, the 19-year-old intern with dark brown skin, short cropped hair, and the weight of 1,000 expectations, it was another chance to prove himself in a world that saw him as invisible. His name wasn't known to anyone. To them, he was just the one who carried papers, fetched coffee, and held doors. A body in the background, a shadow. But what the polished suits didn't realize was that even shadows notice things that giants ignore. And on that morning, the intern noticed something no one else did. By the edge of the lobby, near the towering marble pillars, stood a boy of just 10 years old. He had soft brown skin, a small frame, and wide, uncertain eyes. His lips moved silently, trying to form words, but nothing came out. His hands twitched, shaping fragments of a language that no one in that room understood. He was not shy, he was deaf. And while the world around him rushed forward, blind to his presence, the intern stopped in his tracks. In an instant, the young man's hands began to move, smooth, confident, fluent in the language of silence, sign language. The boy's eyes widened. Shock, then recognition, then something deeper, relief. A smile stretched across his face, bright and pure, like sunlight breaking through clouds. For the first time that morning, someone had heard him without sound. The lobby began to shift. Executives walking past slowed, their polished shoes echoing across marble as they turned to watch. Security guards exchanged puzzled glances. Receptionists looked up from their keyboards. A black intern, ignored every other day, was suddenly the center of attention because he had given a forgotten child a voice, and yet the intern had no idea. No idea that the boy's last name carried more weight than anyone else in that building. No idea that he was the son of the CEO, the man who owned every corner office, every decision, every life that moved within those walls. To the intern, he was simply a child who needed to be understood. But to everyone else watching, something bigger was unfolding. The boy's small hands signed faster, his words tumbling out in silence, excitement flooding through every gesture. And the intern kept pace, his own hands steady, answering with encouragement, kindness, and laughter that filled the boy's heart. What no one else could do, the intern had done without hesitation. And in that moment, destiny shifted. Because sometimes, greatness doesn't arrive in a tailored suit or a polished title. Sometimes, it walks quietly through the door as an intern, ready to change everything without even knowing it. And the boy, the CEO's son, had just found the one voice he had been waiting for all his life. The whispers started small, but they spread like fire in dry grass. "Who is that boy?" someone murmured. "Wait, isn't that the CEO's son?" another gasped. In seconds, the lobby transformed from routine to revelation. The polished executives, men, who never lowered their heads for anyone, stood frozen, watching the black intern and the silent child exchange gestures that none of them could comprehend. The boy's laughter, silent, but alive in his eyes, was louder than any boardroom speech. The intern didn't see their stares. He didn't hear their murmurs. His world in that moment belonged only to the boy, his small hands flying with urgency, his eyes bright with trust. Every sign carried a weight. Every gesture carried a story. And the intern, with patience and grace, answered each one. But the tension broke when the elevator doors at the far end of the lobby slid open. Out stepped a man whose presence made even the highest-ranking staff tremble. Tall, broad-shouldered, with graying hair at his temples and piercing eyes. Sharper than glass, the 52-year-old CEO. His tailored navy suit shimmered beneath the lobby lights, his polished shoes clicking against marble with authority. To the world, he was power personified. To the boy at the center of it all, he was father. And yet, the CEO paused mid-step, confusion clouding his face. His son, his only child, was laughing. Truly laughing, the kind of laugh that didn't need sound to shake the air. But he wasn't laughing with his father. He wasn't laughing with the executives, or the teachers, or the specialists hired to help him. He was laughing with a janitor's intern, a boy no one in this building had ever taken seriously. The CEO's brow furrowed. His steps slowed. Every executive held their breath. The air felt charged, like lightning moments before it strikes. The boy signed something fast, urgent, tugging at the intern's sleeve. The intern nodded, his hands moving with ease, answering with kindness no one else in that room could match. To everyone else, it was a mystery. To the CEO, it was a revelation. For the first time, his son wasn't lost. He was seen. He was heard. He was free. The CEO's chest tightened. All the money he had, all the power he commanded, had failed to give his son what this nameless intern had just offered in seconds. Understanding, connection, humanity. The crowd shifted uneasily. Some executives whispered about dismissing the intern. Others worried about the optics. But the CEO's gaze never left the two boys in the center of the lobby. Every instinct told him this moment was bigger than pride, bigger than titles, bigger than all of them. The intern finally looked up, his dark brown skin glowing beneath the lobby lights, his short-cropped hair damp with nervous sweat, his eyes locked with the CEO's. For the briefest second, silence swallowed the room. The boy clung to the intern's hand. And in that silence, the CEO's decision began to take shape. He didn't see an intern anymore. He saw something far greater. This wasn't chance. This was destiny. The lobby had gone silent. So silent you could hear the soft hum of the lights above. Every pair of eyes clung. To the scene before them, the CEO's son clutching the black intern's hand, his small fingers refusing to let go. The boy signed again, quick and excited. The intern nodded, responding with movements that seemed to carry the weight of an entire conversation. To the untrained eye, it was nothing but hands in motion. To the boy, it was freedom. To the CEO, it was the sound of a voice he had long prayed to hear. The CEO stepped forward. His polished shoes echoed across the marble floor, each strike sending chills through the room. Executives braced themselves, expecting fury. After all, who was this lowly intern? To take the spotlight from the most powerful man in the building? But when the CEO stopped, standing tall before the boy and the intern, no anger came. His eyes, piercing, commanding, unyielding, were wet with tears. He lowered himself slowly to meet his son at eye level. The child turned, confused for a moment, then signed something rapid and joyous. The intern translated without hesitation. He says, "Thank you." The words struck like thunder. The CEO's jaw tightened, his chest heaving as the truth tore through every layer of pride. All the doctors, all the specialists, all the wealth in the world had failed to reach his son. But this intern, the boy no one noticed, no one respected, had done the impossible. The CEO rose, towering once more, and turned to the crowd of executives who still stood frozen in disbelief. His voice cracked, but his command was undeniable. "Remember this moment. Remember who did what none of us could." The lobby shook with the weight of his words. Executives lowered their heads, humbled in a way they had never been before. Pride crumbled, arrogance melted, and respect filled the void. Then, to the shock of all, the CEO extended his hand, not to another millionaire, not to a decorated surgeon, but to the black intern who had just rewritten his world. The intern hesitated, trembling, his dark brown skin glistening with nervous sweat, his 21-year-old frame stiff with disbelief. Slowly, cautiously, he placed his hand in the CEO's. In that handshake, the world shifted. It was more than gratitude. It was recognition. It was respect. It was the moment when power bent its knee to brilliance that had been overlooked. The boy, still smiling, tugged at their joined hands, pulling them closer. The CEO looked down at his son, then back at the intern, his voice breaking. "You gave my child a voice when I thought he would never have one. For that, I owe you everything." The lobby erupted, not in laughter, not in mockery, but in applause so thunderous it rattled the glass walls. For the first time, the intern stood tall in the eyes of all who once doubted him. And as the sound filled the air, one truth cut deeper than any title, sharper than any legacy. Greatness doesn't wear a suit. It doesn't sit behind glass offices or hide in polished shoes. Sometimes it walks quietly in the shadows, carrying nothing but dignity, humility, and a gift the world refuses to see until it can no longer be ignored. That day, in a building built on power and pride, the smallest voice came from the unlikeliest place. and it echoed louder than all the rest. Legends aren't chosen. They rise, and the world would never forget the day a black intern gave a billionaire's son the one thing money could never buy: connection.